Hey, it's Corey Harlock, Principal Consultant at KeyHire Human Capital Solutions. Today, I want to talk to you about the difference between experience and capacity. A lot of small business owners I work with want to hire leaders with experience, and oftentimes they kind of think experience is capacity, and there's a big difference. Experience is, does the person I'm hiring have the background in my industry? Have they done the things we do? Do they understand my business? That's kind of a general overview of what experience is. Capacity takes that a step further. So what is the length of the experience they have within my industry or doing what we do? What is the size of the organization in which they have worked? And what is the depth of the experience they have within that organization, right? Capacity is, as it's defined here, is the ability to understand information and make a decision, and then be able to clearly communicate and execute on that decision. So what are the differences between experience and capacity? Let me share with you just a couple of examples. Hiring for experience looks like this. If I'm a small business owner and I have a business that does $10 million and my sales manager quits, and I say, hey, let's go out and get the sales manager of our competition. So we go out and we hire that individual, and after 6 months you were to say, hey, how's your sales manager doing? They say, they're doing a fantastic job. And you say, great, how are sales? And they say exactly the same. They haven't moved, right? That's because your competition probably does $10 million as well. And though they're a great sales manager and they're doing all the things you want them to do, they're coming from an environment which is virtually the same as yours. Therefore, they don't have the capacity, so they don't have the length of experience. They don't have a larger company experience, and they don't have the depth within that company in the sales organization to be able to design, implement, and affect change or processes and procedures for you that will allow you to scale. Another example, real life example I had was I worked with a client years ago, and we were looking for someone to do accounts payable. And they had a high volume of accounts payable, and it was full cycle. So they were processing 150 to 200 invoices per week. And so the people they had in there before, I heard things like, they said they were processing 200 invoices a week at their old job, and they came from a big oil and gas firm, and they couldn't keep up with us. They didn't know what they were doing. So when I dialed into it, if you look at those big organizations, did they have the relevant experience they were looking for? Sure. They were accounts payable. Did they come from a larger organization? Yes. But did they have the depth of the experience within that organization? And this is how it broke down. When we did some digging and we looked at these large organizations, accounts payable was generally broken into 3 different categories. The person who received the invoices and inputted them, the person who did the matching, then the person who cut the checks. So yes, in their world, they were processing 200 invoices a week, but they weren't doing full cycle accounts payable. They were doing a portion of the process. So they didn't have the depth of experience within the department that we're looking for. Another example of that would be if you were looking for someone to run your operation and you went to a large company that did something similar to what you were doing, and you wanted to hire someone to take over your entire operation. We're looking for them to do inventory and procurement and purchasing and, safety, quality, delivery, all that good stuff. Well, they might have an operations manager title, but in a large operation, they might only be the manager of one area of the operation, and they would report up to a director or VP of operations who would have oversight over all of those other things. So by hiring that individual, you're not really hiring for capacity, you're only hiring for their experience. They're not bringing the extras, the depth of experience to create processes and procedures that would improve your business and allow you to scale. So how do we hire for capacity? And this is what we want to do when we're hiring leaders. We always want to hire leaders that are able to bring more experience, more process, more procedure, more education than we need today, so they can build those processes and procedures for us to scale and grow into them. Hiring for experience causes you to chase your growth and create Band-Aid policy and procedure as you go. Hiring for capacity is hiring someone who will build the policies and procedures out front, and your company can grow into them. It's a much smoother transition. So when we're looking to hire a leader that brings capacity to our business, we want to look at three main categories. We want to look at number one, do they have the industry experience we're looking for? Do they understand what we do? Number two, do they come from a larger organization? So if I'm a $10 million operation, I want to hire someone from a 40, 50, 75, $100 million organization. They understand how the machine works at a bigger level. They understand policy, procedure, how to implement things. If it's an operations person, they might bring some really great safety experience and lean management experience. If they're a salesperson, they might understand how to set up KPIs and set up your CRM so you can build that sales funnel. But the third key piece of it is we want to look at the depth of that experience. We want to be very clear that they understand the entire picture. Sometimes when people come from a large company, those companies are so siloed and segmented that people aren't in charge of an entire process. They're only in charge of a part of that process. And this is what we mean by the depth of that experience. Are they responsible for the whole thing? And can they bring that capacity with them? Can they bring their experience, their knowledge of a larger operation, and their depth of knowledge of that operation so they can create and implement and affect our business and set us up to scale? Love to know what your thoughts are on hiring for capacity and the difference between capacity and experience. Leave your comments below here. I'd love to see what you have to say. If you haven't yet, hit the follow button somewhere around here on our YouTube channel so you can get these updates delivered right into your mailbox. If there's any topics you'd like us to cover coming up, drop them in here as well. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. We're here to help small business owners and answer your questions. So until next time, this is Corey Harlock signing off. Stop grinding and start growing.